So there we go, that is the first stroke that Pete was just talking about there, that they'll have practiced time and time again, and both very clean here. De Hoop on the right-hand side of your picture from the Netherlands, Nonesuch, those Bristol alumni, on the left-hand side of your picture. And what a great start here from De Hoop, Pete.
Absolutely. It looked like they were heading slightly towards the middle of the station, but actually their cocks reacted incredibly quickly and made sure that they're on the best possible track for the rest of this race. And actually, off the start, it's really hard to separate both of these crews by any margin.
Yeah, just a canvas here to the near side crew, the Dutch crew from De Hoop, who've come here with high hopes. And De Hoop, an old club themselves. We're talking about the history of Henley. De Hoop was set up in 1848. We can see the stroke man there, Peter Dickin in the stroke seat, 28 years of age. And a lot of this crew returning back from the finalist crew that made the Thames Challenge Cup final in 2023. So hot favourites on paper.
Absolutely, this crew is rooted in tradition for Henley Royal Regatta. This club in particular is a previous winner of numerous events over here at Henley. And actually, even this season, they've been consistently producing A finals and medals at Dutch national championships.
Yeah, and you can see that here as they extend out. And we talked a little bit about the first stroke, we talked about the starting sequence. This is quite an important part of the race, I think, Pete, is this off the end of the island is often where we'll see crews settle into a bit of a base rhythm. Can you talk us through kind of what that looks like?
Well, firstly, it's important to know that physiologically your body will start to produce a lot of lactate in your muscles, so that's when the pain is really going to start to kick in. So you need to transition from that start sequence into your middle of the race pace that you can hold for about 5 or 6 minutes or so. And then what that means is you need to take the stroke rate down, but it's important to keep the rhythm, keep the speed in the boat. So a lot of crews talk about pushing onto the race actually and using the legs and using the power, shifting where they apply it in order to get the best out of themselves.
Totally. You know, it's not about dropping the pressure to get that stroke rate down. It's about lengthening out and keeping the pressure high and the boat speed high, but yeah, lengthening out. We saw a great shot there of Nonesuch Boat Club, and this has been a wonderful story about Nonesuch, who have gathered together 2/8 to enter into this event, and this Nonesuch Boat Club crew qualifying into this Thames Challenge Cup event. But it spans 10 years of alumni from Bristol University. Wonderful to see them resurging back in Henley Royal Regatta. They've been growing since they picked back up in 2021, and to have an 8 racing here on this iconic stretch of water, it shows you that it can bring clubs together beyond their university days and beyond their rowing clubs. You know, somewhere like this and a race like this is a real draw for people who are out there in the rowing community.
Rowing is not just about the sport, but also the friends you make along the way, and the camaraderie in rowing is so important. So it's great to see that alumni is coming together and actually more crews getting back together to race at Henley over and over again. I think it's interesting to know that this club actually is has this boat in particular from that club have been preparing out of Moseley Boat Club.
Ah, so they've been used to rowing on the Thames, a little bit further into London on the Thames. Molesey, based in Surrey, if you're not familiar, and very nice stretch of water indeed. But we're now looking at the crew from De Hoop in the Netherlands. A huge club, De Hoop. They've got over 1,000 members. So we've gone from talking about a small and growing alumni club to a club that is giant in the Netherlands. They're based in central Amsterdam, and as I say, they were finalists last year, a lot of this crew in 2023. But they're stronger, they're back with a bang. They recorded a very impressive time on the Barsbaan just a few weeks ago, 5:38. This Club 8 managed to achieve, which I think is pretty electric, Pete.
Absolutely it is. Those times are so rapid. In previous years, in the past few decades, those would be the Henley winning times, and now we see so many crews produce those sorts of speed, and it's just incredible to see. I also think it's worth noting that their coach Jeroen will have definitely prepared them for racing for Henley Royal Regatta, seeing as he was their headman's coach at Thames Rowing Club with Alexander Smulders.
Ah, what a wonderful... It's great, isn't it, how the rowing network connects, and those little nuggets of experience that coaches will have got from coaching crews in different parts of the world, and especially here on the Henley stretch. It's a unique race. You know, it's 112 metres longer than any Olympic race, than any sort sort of domestic, normal 2K race, it requires a unique set of coaching skills, I think, to get crews to perform really well here in Henley.
We say it's 112 meters more, but actually when you're an athlete in the boat, doesn't it feel like so much longer than that?
Well, I've actually never raced Henley Royal Regatta myself, because back when I was growing up, there were no events for junior women or for student women, which we now have, which is brilliant, which just goes to show the growth of this regatta. But De Hoop here entering into the regatta enclosure, and just taking a look at the programme, it looks like they'll be racing London B tomorrow if this result maintains, if Nonesuch don't have a dramatic surge through this final few hundred metres. But yeah, De Hoop, I think, looking pretty unbeatable at this point in time.
I think you might be right, Camilla. I think there's maybe too much distance between the two crews to make it up. But one thing that Henley always delivers on is the surprises, and crews overcoming being from down in the race to actually getting their noses in front and crossing that line first. So I wouldn't write Nonesuch off yet. They're not going to want to give up at this stage of the race, especially seeing as this might be the last time they go down the track this year.
Well, here are Nonesuch on your screen now. Alexander Morrison in the bow seat, and Jonathan Broadest in front of him, the 37-year-old. Lots of Henley experience for him. He's raced in the Thames before, the Temple before, back in 2007, the Wyfonds, the Breeze, done pretty much every event available here at Henley Royal. He's then in front of him, Chris Haywood, Robert Davis, John Davis, Alexander Steventon, Andy Warren, Andrew Turner in the stroke seat, and Simran Gill in the coxswain seat for Nonesuch Boat Club. But that will be the last time, I think, as we have maybe a handful of strokes to go, probably 5 or so strokes to go for Bristol here, and they'll have closed that gap all the way to just over a length, with De Hoop taking it down through the second part of that race and conserving that energy. But there are our victors here in this round of the Thames Challenge Cup, De Hoop, Netherlands.
A big thank you.